I mean, I think this lockdown, such as it is, initially, certainly in the first couple of days, has been treated as though it's a kind of lockdown by consent with a vague bit of threat in the background. This is the rules, stay at home. And I think that's pretty good, because one of the things that my big dread is that just in the way that we won't be able to get used to sort of hugging each other or shaking hands in a few months' time because we won't remember what it is, that you end up in a situation where you become almost dependent on the idea that the state will do everything, that we're waiting for the government to tell us what to do, and that you kind of lose a sense of responsibility. And that's kind of like, why doesn't the government pay me my wages? Why doesn't the government do this? Why don't, everything is like, I want you to do this. And to a certain extent, those of us who believe in agency need to be cautious of that. But the other thing is that there's that threat can then be interpreted. You know what it's like? The government might be doing its best to make this a kind of lockdown by consent, but guess what? Derbyshire and Yorkshire police are out waving down cars, asking them what is a necessary journey. Apparently there's police stopping people in some shopping precincts in the northwest saying, is that necessary purchases that you're buying? Some of these things might be like urban myths, but the police stopping the cars isn't. And they're also threatening to fine people. And then you're basically handing powers to the police. Now, I'm not suggesting that Boris Johnson's setting up a police state. I know that Owen Jones has welcomed a police state. Most people don't, and even the police don't. But what I do think is that what we have to be careful of is that we don't just, in fear, because we're very worried about the virus and the overwhelming of the NHS, which I think is a very compelling argument for why we have to have the lockdown, in myself, numbers of people who might die of the NHS collapses of other diseases and other illnesses. I don't think that we should just sit back and say, oh yes, well, the police are just enforcing the lockdown, all is well with me, carry on everyone, and the government's going to look after us, because I'm not prepared to give away that much autonomy in this compromised situation.
And we definitely got a glimpse today as we're recording of, as you say, Claire, the kind of potential excesses of all of this, particularly with that, I think it was Derbyshire Police who put out that video of drone footage over the countryside, pointing out that the cars that were parked for people who were going to go on a walk were there unnecessarily. And that was a very kind of almost absurdly kind of Orwellian vision there.